Hello everybody, thanks for coming in today. I'm Lanabean. I'm doing a Crosskeys run today. All for charity, please donate. It's an awesome cause. I have some commentary here as well by Randomizer. How you doing?
Hello. I guess the first thing we shall do here when we introduce the fact that you're doing a Crosskeys run is tell people what Crosskeys is.
Exactly. This is a Link to the Past randomizer. There are all sorts of modes. In this particular one, a Crosskeys mode is basically what's called a cross-world key sanity. So all the entrances are randomized. The connectors can go from light world to dark world entrances, and and all the small keys are randomized in the game. All the big keys are randomized in the game. Maps and compasses. Maps tell us what our dungeons are, crystals and pendants. We need to get our 7 crystals to unlock Ganon to be able to defeat him. And as of the beginning of the game, we have no idea where things are, so we just kind of find things as we go on.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the interesting things is to figure out where exactly Ganon is, because that can tell you several things about the seed, but we'll talk about that when this run gets to start out, as obviously we are doing this for charity. Now, one thing that also to know is what MSU are you using for this?
Ah, yes, good idea. This is ALTT Pokemon. This is an MSU developed in the last couple of years by a really, really, really great person and runner. And basically MSUs are just randomized, they're not randomized, they're just music tracks you can use for the game of your choice. So in this particular case, it's just a variance of A Link to the Past Pokemon and even some other music that are they're just remixed. It's hard to say, but it's really fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of talented people who were able to piece together music tracks based on other video games, and the individual tracks that are in use for this game, for the particular dungeons, they do link up to those, what are PCM files, and I guess we'll let you listen to that as we move along throughout this run, but I don't think we should keep people waiting much longer. Are you ready to start this adventure?
Absolutely. I think I'll be good to go whenever everybody else is. Rick, you can certainly give us a countdown.
All right, we're going to count you down from 5 and then go. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so the one entrance in the game which is not randomized in general is Link's house. So always start here. My routes just to get a couple entrances over to the right done, maybe take out a couple enemies, see if I can get some bomb drops, stuff like that.
Yeah, the big thing here is that you're trying to find out what enemies drop bombs, because you could walk into a cave and find out that it's a hype cave, and it could be really a useful place that has 5 different items inside. There's a dungeon where we're going to at least find an item coming up here real soon. But the other important thing about that, there's some bomb drops right there. The other important thing is that is a connector. That's also a Candace and Mario there. Connectors, we'll talk about them as we go through this, but there are definitely some interesting aspects, which is part of the cross worlds aspect of this. Some of these entrances could shuffle you to Dark World, and that's how you're supposed to have Dark World access early on in the seed.
Absolutely. It's hard, like, you can end up having to connect to Dark World to walk around as a bunny sprite to get your Moon Pearl from some random entrance in the Dark World.
Now, we've never had that happen before, have we?
Ever. No, never. It's a mode which is extremely kind and can take everything away very quickly.
It's also a mode that can also pressure you to doing things that you may not normally do in a mode like open or standard, where the entrances aren't shuffled. And I mean, you could be dealing with an early Trinex, you could be dealing with Ice Armos and GT early enough. And that's a pretty solid connector there, because that does give you 3 new entrances to check here. And also later on, if you get the hook shot, that also allows you to check even more.
Yes, good entrance early. It is dangerous up here right now. I have very little life. Pretty much anything I touch up here will take me out. Oh god. Alright, it's fine.
Dead rocks do 1 heart damage. Those red Tektites do 2 hearts damage. The blue Tektite does 1 heart damage. So obviously heal up here. Make sure you can get into the last stage.
From there, yeah.
And it's a good thing you got that bomb for this.
Okay, and Sazrella just told us some interesting information. The green pennant is Turtle Rock, meaning that maybe we won't have to beat Turtle Rock, and maybe that Samaria has less meaning that we saw a little bit ago.
Yeah, so obviously Turtle Rock is a very interesting place because, first of all, it does have a lot of items, but it also has 4 different entrances. So all 4 of those could be anywhere. The green pennant aspect of it just adds another wrinkle to the mess, and that's nice and vanilla.
Yeah, kind of vanilla Sanctuary start, so there are only so many drop-downs in the game, and Sanctuary is considered what's called a drop-down. So the game only randomizes a few entrances for that. This is one of them. This over here is one of them. And that's a lumberjack, what we call, and not much going on there. But I could actually houlihan for some money. I think I'll do that.
Yeah, get yourself a little cash flow because we haven't seen any shops, and shops do carry bombs. And that would be a very nice thing in this early mode because you're dealing with not having any sort of weapons to help you out. So if you find Mini Moldorm Cave or Paradox Cave, then you have the arsenal to get the items inside. Absolutely.
Money this early also allows you to get things like Bottle Vendor without having to worry about coming back to Kakariko for that. It's not critical that you do what's called a houlihan, which is what I just did. You kind of offset the camera, the game doesn't know where to put you, and it drops you into houlihan for money.
How's your luck today?
We'll see.
For 1 for 2.
All
that's
right.
not too. That's not horrible. So those are 50-50 pulls whether or not you get a bomb underneath those 2 bushes here. So 2 for 4. That's not horrible. I've seen times where you go like you have to change the screen 6 times to even get your first bomb drop. So 2 out of 4 is a whole lot better than 1 out of 16.
Yes, and I actually had a seed last week, I think, where I got 0 for 14, and I just left.
And this is another place where you want to have bombs being blind tut. And the important thing about this kind of cave is the amount of items inside. You definitely want to find your 5-item caves early on in this mode.
Absolutely. Get those all out of the way. It kind of tells you a little bit about what you need to be doing in the game, because if you're finding little to nothing, it tells you you're probably going to have to start digging some dungeons if you find them. Otherwise, you're going to do a bunch of entrances with, single and double item checks, and those could have something, but you never know.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is the amount of big item caves remaining also can tell you what kind of items you might be seeking out later on in this seed. Like, if you're starting to run out of entrances, you might need the mirror, you might need the boots in order to unlock some of those entrances.
Absolutely, and boots are fantastic, but can also be a curse, depending on the seed. We don't know where Ganon is, and there's one drop-down we do not want to see Ganon at.
Let me guess. We're talking the Lost Hills, the Lost Woods Thief, right?
Absolutely.
That's the one we're talking about. That it's totally that entrance. Here's some more information because this NPC is going to tell you what the 5-6 are.
And the 5-6 crystals are required. There are 2 of our 7 crystals we need to beat the game. So the game just kind of told us some things we wanted to know.
But more importantly, that also leads to another entrance where there could be a dungeon or an item cave.
Absolutely. The 2 red crystals, you take a big bomb that appears there when you get that. I don't think I need that at the moment. And you take that all the way to the pyramid in Dark World. And you blow open a wall that you can't open any other way without illegally entering it, but this isn't a glitch mode, so... So we will not be doing anything beyond, we will not be doing any major glitches as they're called. There are a bunch of minor glitches that are allowed in racing, and there are a bunch of major glitches that are not allowed. So we will not be doing any of the major ones that can pretty much break the game.
Yeah, we'll try to do our best to outline a few of them as we come across this seed, but where are the items that actually open up anything to do in this seed? Now, that's a good one to find right there, Turtle Rock Right, because that's the only way you can access that big chest once you do get the big key.
And you can sequence break the left exit out of Turtle Rock to find another exit. You can get a couple items there that are not in logic. And Rick, why don't you discuss a little bit about logic, what that is, and why we'll be using that term so much here?
So there is logic built into where the items are placed, the items and the keys to beat some of these dungeons as well. Some items lock up other things. Like, for instance, there's a chest if you go straight up as opposed to where Lana's going to the left. If you went straight up, there's a room that is in the dark, and right now that room is out of logic because we don't have the lamp. So certain times you might see Lanabean choose to do what we call sequence breaks. Now, the other thing you're seeing Lana do in this case is she will be taking a death to go back to the entrance to Hyrule Castle. She does have bombs to kill this guard, but she doesn't have enough to get through this entire castle. Plus, what's beyond that key door is out of logic. You need to find the Hyrule Castle small key in order to make the other two checks in that part of the castle in logic.
And you can find some really good stuff if you're going out of logic in the game, but that could also throw you off of getting what the game intends you to do and something very important potentially.
So we just found Mimikate right there. One item exists, but we need a hammer in order to open that up. Now that right there is a one-way. You can get there from a different way, but that's the only way. You can't go back to where you come from. And I don't know, Lana, we are starting to run out of entrances that are via drop-downs.
Don't you jinx me. That's fine.
You're the one who rolled. You're the one who rolled this seed.
Not wrong. Not wrong. Oh, that's good. All right. That is our mountain start. So as soon as we rescue what we call Gary, the old man, you can spawn there, and that is French vanilla.
That's vanilla.
That is vanilla. Okay.
That is the vanilla right entrance.
Did I mismark this one? Let's see. What is this one? Nothing. Okay. So this one was mountain. I just mismarked that one.
Yeah, it's the middle one. That's the old man front is what I call it. You call it the old man start.
Oh, Ice Palace. How you like to show up early?
An early Spear Ice Palace is always interesting because once the seed gives you the ability to get past the Freezors, some weird things can wind up showing up in that dungeon.
Gloves, moon pearls, you name it.
Alright, that is good to see the well because that is another 5-item cave. That's also a good tier tree pull.
I'm also going to be playing this a little bit differently than I normally would, in that I will probably dig dungeons as I find them for the most part, for a little bit of safety, for not having to return to places, to get things done a little faster potentially.
Yeah, but sometimes the seed doesn't care and will just give you whatever it wants to give you, and you won't have any recourse and have yourself a good day, but it's all fun. It's why we play this. Right?
Exactly. It's fine. It's fine.
There's the Moon Pearl. That is a very key thing because that means we aren't going to have to play the bunny walking game.
It also means connectors are a little bit more important right now.
Yes, indeed. So we have 3 drop-downs remaining. We have the Useless Fairy Cave, we have Uncle, and we have Ganon. I know which one you would like to find this next one you're going to come across.
Yes, you do, and it's definitely not Ganon.
Mm-hmm. It's also not Useless Fairy.
Alright, so we found a dungeon, Tower of Hero. We can only do 2 things in here, basically. which is check this item, which is just a map to nothing we need apparently, and also the item upstairs.
So we don't need that map because you found out that that was one of our 5, 6 already.
But normally maps do tell us if a dungeon is a crystal or pendant, which is good.
Because obviously knowing what your 7 dungeons are to allow you to kill Ganon would be a good find.
And it can also throw you off because you may be less prompted to go into a pendant dungeon, which the game likes to put important things in.
Yes, and then you complain and scream and cry, and the game doesn't care anymore. All right, we want this to be Uncle. It is.
Alright, that is excellent. Ganon can at worst be vanilla, which is behind Ganon's tower, which has items behind us, so we don't care about that too much.
So the 2 remaining drop downs, don't forget Uncle.
Of course. Oh, Uncle. You were right. Oh my
yes,
gosh.
don't forget Uncle.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I was marking off some things on my tracker that is not on screen.
I mean, that boomerang isn't necessarily something we need to beat the game, but at least it's not like a you forgot a spot here, and it turns out to be the thing that you need to beat the game, and you sit there and go, "What did I miss for like 20 minutes?" We've all been there.
Yeah. All right.
So we do have 2 drop downs remaining. One is vanilla, which you need to defeat Ganon's tower to open up that hole in the pyramid. The other one is at Hyrule Castle, which is where Lanabean is heading to right now. So this is where we want Ganon to be, because otherwise then we have Useless Fairy as the other drop down. And Useless Fairy is, well, for lack of a better use of words, rather useless. And it is Useless Fairy, so that does mean we do need to defeat Ganon's tower in order to get to where Ganon is, because Ganon is vanilla in the seed.
And that can be worse. Castle at Lumberjack definitely could be a worse one. Simply because through that you need to find all sorts of things to unlock Ganon that way, and the game likes to put Castle Tower keys in very dumb areas.
It's the needle in the haystack issue.
You know what? I should probably actually go through that. I've got a cape, Rick. I've got a cape.
I actually forgot you had the cape at that point. I would have stopped you if I did remember that. But these connectors, as you point out, can be important. There are several connectors that are what I call force outs. They're locations that you can only get to via connector, like Bumper Ledge, Desert Right, the Turtle Rock Bridge, Floating Island. There's also one that is where Laser Bridge only takes you out in vanilla. Those are what I call force outs, because you have to have those. And here's an example of a force out right there. So once Lana finds the mirror, that becomes even more important because there's an item on the other side. Plus, of course, pretty much all of the mountains accessible.
Yup, and currently I've got to orphan 2 of the entrances up here because I have no way of getting to the left side, so I have to drop down to get these 2 entrances or choose to go through 2 dangerous Lionels who can take me out in 2 hits and go to the left.
That's what they make the cape for, but you're not doing that at this early stage. You're hoping to find access to that left side of the mountain, and there is going to be a way to get up to that left side of the mountain, but we don't know how to get there just yet, because the main thing is you're going to find a connector that is the Old Man Rescue.
Yup.
We do have a question in chat. What sprite is this?
This is Dark Girl, and this is from the, I believe it's the BS Zelda, the satellite Link to the Past released in Japan only, and there's a female sprite that you can use, there's a male sprite you could use, And people have made different versions of those sprites. This in particular one is Dark Girl, so it's a dark version of her. She's got green eyes, as you can see. So it's Dark Girl.
Cool. I'm actually partial to Cyrano when I play.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there are hundreds of different sprites you can choose from to play as. There's Dragon Ball sprites, there's anime sprites, there's... Oh, hi. There's...
What does the old Hiley sprite look like?
Gesture which we can't talk about on stream.
Obviously, Lana's talking because we found Paradox Cave, which is 3 entrances, but more importantly, 7 items, all in logic right now. Yeah, that's pretty good before you go face off against the mold worms.
We like swords. They actually help you do things like take out enemies. It's quite nice. We don't like those, though. Those are evil. Those are shields. I don't need those. I don't want them.
So how much can people donate to charity to make you keep the shields?
Gosh, that's a good question. Let's say $100 per shield. I'm gonna, yeah. If you want me to keep this shield, you gotta donate $100. If you want me to keep the fire shield, another $100. In fact, we're gonna up it. The mirror shield. Okay, that's a really good connector. The mirror shield. If you want me to keep that, you gotta give $400 total.
Now, we will put a little bit of a disclaimer in here that there could be a situation here because we find them in chests where Lanabean
I have to give the
might have to.
Oh gosh, you never mind. Keep going.
We do actually have a $25 donation from Scottish and Zen saying, "Let's go, Lana. Good luck on your run. I know you'll smash it. Much luck from Scottish, Zen, and Kipper."
I can't believe Scottish Brave would donate towards the shield incentive now.
That one actually went to fighting 3D Culex in the Super Mario RPG run.
Ooh, wonderful.
But we'll count it.
Yes, we're counting it.
Okay, so you were talking about disclaimer, Rick. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's just the fact that you might find yourself with the mirror shield because you checked enough chests, and certain points here, if you didn't save, you'll find yourself having to backtrack a lot if you decide I'm not going to keep that shield.
That's true. But if you want me to put no effort into getting rid of it, give to charity, everybody.
It all goes to a good cause.
Exactly. All right, let's go. Okay. So there was one useful connector out of Paradox, which led me to the Mire area. Mire area is interesting because you can only get there with a flute and 2 gloves, or finding a connector. And it's kind of good and bad to find the connector, because finding the connector does give you the option of getting there, but then the game may not want to give you the flute, because there's only one other reason currently for the game to give me a flute, and that is if the mirror may be buried a little bit because of my Death Mountain access right now. And thank you to Scottish Brave, Zen Arcane, and Kipper. They are 3 great members of the A Link to the Past community. And Kipper being their cat, but...
Yes. One of them purrs.
Exactly. Very important job. Oh
yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's Hookshot Cave. I've got no hookshot, no boots with which to attempt to hover, so we are just gonna, go through a connector. And I'm out of bombs.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't accidentally spend a second bomb.
Oh.
But hey, there you go.
Alright, well this is Death Mountain. This means the game has very little reason to give me a mirror currently, kind of, unless there's something on Floating Island or East Death Mountain somewhere.
That 300 rupees is not considered enough to cause you to need a mirror at this point.
And that is what I call the dingus connector, because this is the brother. He walled off his brother Leo. He's a dingus.
Can't believe you'd wall them off like that.
Right? But it's a connector.
That's why they call them the quarreling brothers.
That's true. And that may...
Considered what Leo did wrong to be called a dingus.
Probably just a brother thing, existing siblings, you know?
Existing is a good enough of a reason, yeah.
Or letting himself get walled off.
There you go. Oh, I like
perfect cave to find when you have no bombs.
this. Free bombs. Oh, hi.
Speaking of that mirror, there it is. Also, just for clarification, there is an enemy in the game that Lana will visit if we don't supply enough money towards this charity. They call them the Picket, and they steal shields.
Yes, they do.
Up to the mirror shield. They cannot steal the mirror shield.
And I did not patch the game to be able to have the mirror shield stolen, so that's okay. I made it a race legal seed, so I can't have the ROM altered and the shield stealable. Well, many people think it's called a like, but it's actually a picket. Rick is correct.
Yeah, in this game it's called the Picket as opposed to the like.
Similar concept, though. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Gary is hanging out at Tower of Fear today.
Either that or the Old Man Back Cave, because I don't think you've gone through that yet. One thing is that Old Man cannot be rescued at his home because it crashes the game.
Yeah, so they kind of had to put a stop to allowing that.
I don't think you went through that cave there though.
Oh, the one on the right?
Yeah, I don't think you went through it.
Oh, thank you for the reminder.
Okay, so yeah, he is hovering at Hera.
Well, and the other question is, how quickly do I want to go back through... Where did I get up there? Eastern entrance to go back to Floating Island? Or was this Paradox?
You went through Hookshot Cave to get up here to the mountain.
That's right. Bumper goes up to Floating Island. That's not bad.
Yeah, which is at Hyrule Castle.
So this is one of those logic things that Rick and I were discussing earlier. This rescue of Gary, we call him, is out of logic because the game does not expect you to go through a dark room to do anything in this mode. It uses what's called basic logic. Okay.
You have a sword.
That's true, actually. I should have knocked them out of the way, huh? I forgot about that. So the game does not expect you to go through this, and even in a regular mode, the game doesn't expect you to do this because in order to make a cave like this legal in, say, a regular, advanced mode, is to put a torch somewhere in here to be able to light that to see your way. So technically, no mode out there makes this check logical without a lamp.
And you can notice that Lana is doing this without having the sword out, which is usually how some runners do go through here to figure out where exactly they are. Once you do this enough times, you kind of figure out how the room moves over to begin with, and then on top of that, I mean, Lanabean's been good. Plays this regularly.
Once or twice.
Just a few times.
Just like a certain somebody who has a tournament race coming up later on today.
Hey, I don't know who you're talking about.
This is a busy time of year for A Link to the Past runners. There is the main tournament. They just had qualifiers that ended in the last couple of weeks, and now we have the main tournament going on. So, 128 people are now trying to vie for the best spot in the world, I guess.
Yep, and they're trying to get into a 64-person bracket. We'll see. We just wrapped up with the Speed Gaming Live event, where there were some more runners who partaked in a live event in person in Northern Virginia, which was definitely fun to watch unfold. And Crosskeys is wrapping up. In fact, I believe one of the finals is going on this afternoon as well.
Yep. All sorts of tournaments going in this mode. Oh, bye library. See you never. Their base site, alttpr.com, if you wish to learn about that. Otherwise, there's a Discord with Ladder, and that's more racing. There's the Tark Discord, which is the primary resource for racing. And then there's the alttpr general Discord as well. Alright, so we're coming back up here to go through Dingus connector to find out where that goes, because in this mode you kind of don't want to leave a connector hanging. The game will make you pay for it.
Imagine taking connectors.
Right?
Something I usually exclaim every time I see a connector that I should have gone through, and it brings me somewhere else. Now, this is a very important connector to find, because there's only one way to get here.
And apparently that could be that. Unless the game does the funny and puts another connector over at the west entrance, which I'll check second. Well, no, we'll probably end it at Desert and go out west. It's also convenient because when I go back out the top of Death Mountain, the floating island, I don't need to worry about which side I drop down. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
Agate Tower. This one's fun because you only have the accessibility of getting that first check right now because you don't have a key.
Ow.
I was going to point out, in this mode, which is not the same if you're doing it on a door entrance branch, in this mode, the connector is always on the right side.
Really?
Bear with me for a moment.
I did not know that. The game can truly do some weird things, like give you a connector to a connector to a connector to send you somewhere you really need to go. I'm steadily finding things the game does want me to find, and I'm doing very little out of logic, so... and the things I am doing out of logic isn't really giving me anything, so the game's giving me a pretty straightforward path. Alright, that's interesting. Alright, so that's more Dark World, though not much. Basically, South Dark World, you're limited until you get a, like a hammer to get you to East Dark World, or, flippers, or maybe a couple gloves to get you north into, Village of Outcasts. But this does get me, a compass. I already marked it off on my tracker, but I didn't completely trust what I did just because I've been talking quite a bit. Alright, oh gosh. That is not what I wanted. So, what that did is it put me right back up on the mountain where I just was. So, I'll use this as an excuse to go ahead and take the connector that we saw at Old Man Bottom entrance, which is just the bottom of Death Mountain.
We have a $10 donation from Margaret Ann, who asks, how much to donate to throw away swords?
That'd require a lot more, but I can't get rid of swords the way I can get rid of shields, unfortunately, at least the first two shields. Swords would be like a swordless Crosskeys, which probably is the thing, but I'm not a big fan of Crosskeys, or not Crosskeys, of swordless modes. But you know what? If it's for charity, I would be willing to do a run like that if necessary. Absolutely. Alright, let's see where this other mystery connector goes. Oh, North Dark World. Okay, well, I have access to the area I was just in and more. So it's hard to say what the game really wants me to do at this point. It's giving me a lot of options.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Crosskeys is how at times the sea can really blow wide open on what you can do even to the point that you can't get some measure on what to do next.
And basically, Rick, what had happened if you missed it is I went and found Desert Palace East, went out to Arrow Tree Game.
Okay. Yep.
And then I went to Quarreling West and accidentally dropped down a dark entrance, which took me back up Death Mountain.
Awesome.
And so I decided to take the connector over at Old Man Bottom connector thing to go see where that goes, and that's where it took me, is to North Village Backcast to the Fortune Teller. So that's pretty much all you missed.
Yeah, good old timed phone calls, but required phone calls. We all been there.
All right, what do we got? And nothing.
So one of the things also to note in Crosskeys is you're noticing that this start, we haven't gotten any of our dungeons done just yet. A typical Crosskey seed does go up in this direction, where it does take a while before you can start actually beating the 7 dungeons you need to do in order to make Ganon vulnerable. But as a result, once you start finding the things, the seed starts to accelerate really fast. So if you're concerned at this point in time that we have 0 crystals and haven't really made much progress in any of the dungeons, we're still in that first stage of the game where you're just trying to find where all the entrances are, trying to find where the items are. We still have multiple item caves that are very rich to us as well.
What we just saw on Bumper Ledge was a big key, so that could be a big key we need. It might be a useless big key, we won't know. But
there's a couple of big keys that are definitely not meaningful towards us. Skull Woods being one and Swamp being the other, because those two only unlock one check, which is the chest itself. You don't need those big keys in order to defeat the bosses of those dungeons.
Yup, and logically you do need an Ice Palace big key, but out of logic you don't.
So Skull Woods you're in right now. Skull Woods has the odd scenario of, you mentioned how earlier in the seed that the drop downs get shuffled. Skull Woods does not do that in this mode. And we always joke about what is called soft lock woods. Oh!
I decided to throw the boomerang, and that kind of got me grab at hand, so we'll just not do that this time.
That was a stunning play. The Wall Masters, as you see, take you back to the last entrance you've gone through. Skull Woods is one of those places that is really fun for having them there.
And then there's Randomizer.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So one of the things we're hoping for is a not soft lock woods, which unfortunately it's shaping up to be that case, where those 2 connectors that you just saw go between those 2 entrances, and the one that has the majority of the items, you have to go through a drop down to try to find it.
And there is a slight possibility that you could not be soft locked and you could get back out, but it's at this point about a 1 in 4 chance. Wait, we already know that one. That's where I got here.
Yep.
So there's a slight chance that if I do drop down to get the items that I can down there, that the game may not make me save and quit and redo this, but yeah, probably will. And that's the worst shop in the game.
So I'm going to ask our host, where are we standing as far as the amount to force Lanabean to keep this fighter shield?
We are currently at $35.
Okay, so you have to get to 100 to force me to keep this shield. Otherwise, I'm getting rid of it in a couple minutes.
Yep, and Lana, the way that she is routing, will take her over towards the Swamp Palace area where one of those pickets resides. Real soon.
That is a pair of flippers.
Yep, at Pyramid Ferry. Which, if Lana had a bottle, could try to see what we get thanks to a freebie there. So 35 out of 100.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's worth noting we're also very close to $3,800, so please get those donations in.
Yes, please keep donating for a great cause.
And to keep that little thing you see next to the sprite of Lanabean. Because Lanabean loves shields.
Rick, please.
You love shields so much. To the point that you, in a tournament race with Scottish Brave, who had that donation earlier, had a agreement in a tournament race to take away all those shields.
And then we ended up finding, like...
And then all of them were avoidable shields.
They were. We didn't have to get rid of any of them.
They were avoidable shields because they all were loose items that you could just avoid and not pick up because they weren't in chests.
But it was worth it. Oh, Stumpy.
Stumpy giving 20 rupees right there.
Well, we are slowly starting to put some pieces together. The game's not really giving us much in the way of big keys, but we're getting items to get locations. Locations lead to more items, like this.
Super Bunny, one of those one ways, because you can go through the bottom and come out this way, but this is the only way. This is the only exit. All right, that's a beatable dungeon.
Yep, I don't have a hookshot to cheat up to the top legally, but I do have Tower of Fear location and can get 3 out of 4 of the rest of the checks. So it's one of those big keys that you don't usually need, but the game can on occasion just put something dumb behind that actually locks your hookshot, which is what you use to kind of cheat your way up Tower of Fear without having the big key. And did get a mail upgrade, so I'm taking about half damage at this point.
I'm seeing $2 short of that, 3,800. I'm guessing we're still at 35, right?
That is correct.
Because we're getting close to where there's a picket.
I'm trying to delay my way to the picket in case people want to donate some cash here towards a fantastic charity. But I'm about to reach him.
You got one more cave left to go through before we get there.
Wait,
now,
I do a big
let's
bomb.
make this a dungeon so we could try to stall this.
I can't remember if I checked this. I'm just going to do it just in case.
You did.
Oh, chess game. Right. Links are in chat. Everybody get those donos in, please.
I will also point out, if you don't get this in time, the 200 still stands, where Lanabean would have to keep the fireball shield. And having one key means that there are 3 things currently in logic. Now, are you going to try to press for the other 2 items?
Absolutely.
So, Lanabean's going to be setting up for a trick coming up here real soon. I will call it the Mimic Clip, because that's exactly what it's called, but nice boomerang. But this is a interesting trick where you're going to see a particular red mimic go bye-bye.
Kind of clips off the screen. It's a legal glitch in the game. There are multiple ways to get the mimics off screen, including a bottle glitch. I don't have any bottles with potions, or mimic clipping, which is basically single frame taps of your controller, causing the mimic to slowly go off screen.
So we're going to set up by getting rid of these 2 mimics by way of the pots, because they can be killed with a weapon like that. And now look at this. Almost had it there. In fact, it was starting to go through the wall, but
Pressed
Lana
it
pulled
again.
it back out, but got it back through. And that's extremely fast the way you have that done.
Well, once you get
and
a
it needed it. Needed to go home.
It did. Once you get a system down, it's not terrible, but it can tire out your thumb if you start getting it wrong.
And frustrate
What
you
am I
so that
doing?
you make further mistakes.
Like not using a mirror. Okay, bye-bye to shield number 1. Okay, we'll alter this a bit, though. You only have to get to 100, and then we'll get rid of Fire Shield. You know what I didn't do, Rick? I didn't actually mirror and do the... Oh, wait, I already... No, I didn't do that entrance. So, the mirror allows you to more efficiently check Light World and Dark World connector variants. The same connector... Or not connector, the same entrance. Oh my gosh. Imagine finding Mini Moldrum Cave just south of Kakariko, or just south of where you start. Aha. That's hookshot. That's a what we call a sphere 1 hookshot, where you can just go into an entrance and get it. And I missed it. But fortunately, I've only found Hookshot Cave, and I want to kind of go through that area anyway eventually, because I did miss a entrance. One entrance to do down here.
Yeah, so one of the things that you're seeing Lana do right now is trying to clean up the spear ones. So what we mean by spear is that the logic places items in what we call spears, and as a result, items that you need to get into like another layer in the logic would change the spear. So spear 1 leads to spear 2, leads to spear 3. So right now, Lana is cleaning up some of those loose remaining spear 1 caves that we have open to us.
Do bombable entrances count as Sphere 1?
Yes.
Since bombs are readily available, just from lifting a tree. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, as you saw at the very beginning, you had the 50-50 bomb chances there near what we call Haunted Grove. So bombs are accessible at any point in the game. Whether or not you have the right luck to get those bombs is a different story and can be very, very frustrating. But as the game states, you can get bombs. You can have a chance to get bombs off an enemy drop. So as such, any of the bombable caves are considered spear 1s.
And as an example, if there was an early hammer that was accessible in a chest you can easily get, then Mimic Cave in Kakariko would be a Sphere 2 check. Since it was only locked by 1 item. But who knows for hammers, the hammer could be locked in a much different sphere anyway, but we'll see. One thing I'm missing right now is a glove, which prevents me from getting quite a few things, entrance-wise. Oh gosh. That's not a bad small key.
First bottle right there, which will open up Sick Kid when we come back to Kakariko Village.
So Hive Cave is pretty good. A couple of small keys, which are ultimately going to be potentially useful. I may want to clean that up right now. Oh. Okay. So that is Desert North. I guess we'll go ahead and just do this. Get it? It's out of logic, but...
Yeah, the time you really are concerned about going deeper in this Hyrule Castle is if the back of the sanctuary there is at the pyramid or at the lumberjack, because those are places where you need another item in order to get to those. Obviously, this is glove locked, but there's a decent shot you're going to find a glove at some point.
Yep. And you do want to be careful of your out of logic checks. Keep things in mind if you found something out of logic, but in the end, you just got to get items you can get and try not to get everything messed up in your head as to what you should and shouldn't have.
That's a hard thing to do in this mode.
It can be, especially when you're learning.
See, that's a very nice item to get that's out of logic right there, because that's going to speed up Lanabean's movement.
And I would have gotten that if I had more bombs when I actually went into this entrance earlier, but with 4, that would have...
You're going to have a hard time getting there.
Yeah. Well, let's test my stun prize, may as well. It's a good stun prize.
That big key is the only one that you're guaranteed to have this is the big key to this dungeon.
Yep, and there are even modes out there which randomize that key among everything else too.
Yes, which is scary, but it does happen.
It can. It's a thing. Crosskeys is one of those modes that you gotta start getting used to the other modes first, some of the more simpler ones. You play your regular opens or your standards, you get used to that, you play some Key Sanity, you get used to that, and then suddenly, Crosskeys becomes open to you. And Crosskeys kind of becomes one of the modes that you shouldn't expect to finish the first couple of seeds you do. You're going to mismark something on your tracker you're using, who knows, so you're probably not going to finish it, but after you do a couple, and you make fewer mistakes, this mode's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely could vouch for that. There were a few of those type of Crosskey seeds that came into issue. Nice job finding that chest through the dark like that. This mode can definitely make your mind work harder than you have with other modes.
Yeah, there is a lot of state to remember.
And the thing about this mode is you also need to be comfortable not only tracking entrances when you start getting used to that, but getting comfortable doing low percent things. So sometimes the game may expect you to climb Ganon's tower with relatively low gear to get a Moon Pearl or something, unlocking a Moon Pearl or a mirror or something like that. So, you definitely want to be familiar with some of the more advanced things before getting into a mode like this, if you can. Ugh.
I have no idea that place you just found.
No, it doesn't exist in your head. No, it's fine.
For good reason.
So the entrance I just didn't totally find is called Spiral Cave, and it's a root entrance. It's a connector, technically, that gives you a free item, but it's so boring. Whenever you have a pair of boots, you get to run through the entrance. Maybe it's a little more tolerable, but in the end, it's just a connector you cannot come back from, and it's just the way. What am I doing? It may just lock you out of. It may just lock you out somewhere you don't want to be. And in this particular situation, I can get to that entrance pretty easily if I just save and quit. So, in this particular area, I'm just going to be doing I'm doing a bunch of entrance checking. I haven't done all of the eastern area, so I gotta get all those out of the way. I gotta end the route at Hookshot Cave, which gets me 4 items. And it's just, it's convenient to be doing what I'm doing right now. Oh no.
already scouted this one out, and you've already seen the other 2 entrances.
Have I?
Yep.
Ah, all right. I didn't mark it off my tracker. Whew.
Spec Top is at Thieves Town, and Spec Bottom is in Cack Village.
I thought I saw Spec Bottom, but I wasn't sure about the other one.
Yes,
Okay.
Spec Top is Thieves Town.
Okay, so we're going to go over here first, because if I go over to Hookshot Cave, we're going to end up wanting to connect to possibly back up to Death Mountain.
And this is also part of that thought process when you start to plan out your route, is how do you chain things together? As Lanabean just mentioned, she's going to check this and the 3 entrances that are on top of Hyrule Castle, then go back over towards the Palace of Darkness area, and finish out that part of the route by taking the Hookshot Cave, getting those 4 accessible items up to the mountain. Lumping things together.
This is the upgrade ferry entrance, so I may as well just grab a quick bomb and arrow upgrade. I got plenty of money for the entire game, so spend it. Well, it's kind of boring. So I still haven't found quite a few dungeons. I still haven't found the dam for Swamp. I haven't found Swamp itself. I haven't found Mire. So this is just one of those seeds that's just kind of slowly coming together. I'm getting my things recently. The Mirror, Hookshot, Samaria, Flippers, Mirror. So the game's pretty much made most of itself open and available to us. Like, I've got that connector to Mire area, which is even more entrances, but I really do want to wait for a fire source so I can beat Skull Woods as well.
What was that entrance you just found, the dark entrance?
I think that was Fairy Ascension. Oh, wait a minute. It was not Fairy Ascension. That's not a dark cave. It was a dark connector that I haven't found the other end of yet. It was the one that I think you go straight up and it just is one of those. Oh, hi. I think it's just the one that you just walk straight up and it's a diagonal upright, I think.
Okay, the Death Mountain Descension Cave.
Death Mountain Descent, thank you.
So the dam in Crosskeys is interesting because, first of all, it's an item inside. Secondly, you need to find the dam in order to drain the water to find the item that is next to what is normally the dam in vanilla. And thirdly, you need that if you want to have the water ready in Swamp Palace. Once you do it once, it's there forever. Now, did you ever check the Light World entrance here?
I did not.
I believe you also have Hobo remaining.
Yep.
That's true. We didn't stop by to say hi to George. Hey,
That's a good one to have.
We need that. Lo and behold, the one entrance I skipped earlier. But George would have been super convenient to check down there, but I completely goofed on that. I'll check it pretty quick, because I've got all the flipper checks to do, Zora, all that stuff.
Yeah, if Lana doesn't do Hobo here, or the Man Under the Bridge, what do you want to call it? It's not like it's gone forever. It's not like it's a loose square.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit of time to get back to. But Lana also does have the Lake Hylia Island cave there to check coming up here, and also heading over towards Zora. So it's not like it's a completely out of the way route.
Right.
This is Kiki. We call him Kiki the Extortionist because he gives you you give him $110 just to open up one entrance for you.
And if you get hit on any path between, you're going to go through Hookshot.
Yes, just remember that.
I'm glad I got you before you hit the save and quit button.
Yes.
But if you get hit anywhere between spawning Kiki and the door, you have to pay 10 more rupees.
Well, that cave is boring.
Yeah, Hookshot definitely did not give us any sort of excitement here.
Probably just going to do that from this area, and we're going to go clean up the rest of Death Mountain before I get too distracted.
So you're going to go up to Bumper Cave?
I am, because there's the free item on Floating Island, and there are 3 quick entrances to check, and if I don't do that now, I end up doing a lot of other things before I check it, so if it ends up hiding something I need, I'd like to know.
It's called Volume.
But there are other options right now. I've got all the flipper checks that did unlock with the flippers that we recently got from Village of Outcasts. We've got...
Yep, and we still have Tower of Hero, which is beatable.
Yes, and we have some of Turtle Rock, which is currently legal. Including Turtle Rock West to go out if we want to. Yeah, we'll grab it. Why not? We don't need it, but we'll take it. Alright, now comes one of those annoying decisions that people have to make. I've got a Castle Tower small key, so I could drop down the left side, go into Castle Tower and get the second check out of Logic, but I'm not going to. I am simply going to drop down the middle and get those other 2 entrances we don't have checked yet.
And you have other ways to get there, so...
We do.
We're still looking for additional donations for some of the incentives for later today, including the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX run. We're $75 away from Marin's date, and then more for the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest run, including randomizing the Dark King sprite. So please get those donations in. They go to a great cause.
Absolutely. Do it, chat, please.
Speaking of Turtle Rock checks, here you go.
They also give us 1 check, no fire rod, and I don't want to spend the small key because we've got the other way accessible free.
Oh, now you can find out whether or not you need to be Hera.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take this Star Connector. This could very well end up leading us back to top of the castle or something, and we can just mark that off. Oh, this is the upright. Okay. I had that mismarked in my head. So, again, this is out of Logic. We don't have a lamp, and there's no way to light up the room. But once you play this game enough, you kind of learn the dark rooms, and you can do them pretty easily.
Yeah, you learn how to avoid the 2 pits that are right there in that middle section. So yeah, Deathbound Descension both connect with each other, which we already seen.
Alright, so we get to stop up mountain here. I do want to go out the back of mountain because we do have a big key that we know about. Even if it's out of Logic, it's on Bumper, so there is more important things to do with connectors. Or there are more important things to do, I should say. Oh, there's also a sick kid, which I need to go by. Say hi to him.
Did you ever go out Hyrule Castle right?
No. We've only gone in 1 entrance, and we came in another entrance just by finding it. We haven't actually gone out that
Right,
door.
you done Hyrule Castle left and Hyrule Castle middle.
Yeah, so I'll probably just do Hyrule Castle, now. It's legal. But first we gotta check with this kid. See if he's gonna give me anything important. Probably not, but you never know. There's still a lot of things I'm missing.
Yeah, right now there's several items that could help increase your number of checks. That doesn't.
That's my 3rd GT small key. That does one thing for me, basically. It tells me a little bit about Logic, and I guess it also allows me to be able to go full right in Ganon's Tower if I need to, and spend that key and not have to worry about missing out on any checks in GT. Spending a key.
And technically, before we beat this seed, we're going to have to find all 4 GT smalls.
Legally, that is correct.
Now, obviously, if we do or not is a different story, but the way Logic works is that you're supposed to have all 4 GT small keys in order to make Aga 2 accessible. Oh, good. It's one of those force outs. Now, did you ever check Agina's cave?
No, I was planning on doing that with Myra, but we're here. This is C-shaped house. Well,
TRK of convenience.
yeah. We're gonna go back to Kakariko because I've got a little bit of a rock I can do legally, and also go out the west exit, which is currently very legal.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Turtle Rock is here.
Yep.
So we have two ways of getting through this legally right now. We have both Hookshot and Samarian. Hookshot was available Sphere 1. So the game could very well expect you to do this pretty quickly. Let's see. Tower of Hira. That was Lost Woods. That was north of. Okay.
Yeah, that was the gambling cave on the north side of Lost Woods.
So this check is technically out of logic because the logic does expect you to spend your small keys in the worst way possible, in the most inconvenient way. So
So this check that Lanabean is coming up upon here, we call Lava Chest, is locked behind all 4 TR smalls.
Yep.
Interesting game.
Well, as soon as
Alright, so we're going to be finding all 4 TR smalls at some point.
And assuming, well, I know where Desert North is, so the second I find a fire source, I can do that. But again, the game expects you to spend the small keys wrong, and you can technically steal a small key from the back of Desert, spend it in the front, and lose out on that key. So the game does expect you to legally have the Desert Small even before, before beating the dungeon. Okay.
And a unique item sits inside that chest,
The single arrow.
which was the most annoying thing to see back when hints were a thing on those hint tiles where you got told about unique items, you go out of your way to find it, and it's the single arrow.
I did not know that that is what's counted as a unique item.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because there's only one single arrow in the entire game.
Thanks, I hate it.
Exactly. We hate it too.
It normally hangs out in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. It's in the rupee basement in the vanilla. So I'm assuming you're going through Paradox to get to the Mire area now.
Yes, I am. There is a free item we have not scouted on Desert Ledge, not to mention there are 3 more entrances that we can check in the area. We also haven't floated down to check what the Dam Drain item is as well, so I should do that pretty quick. And I also have not checked Light Hype.
Yeah. I've got a few spots here on my map that could be checked at this point, but I know you'll get to them at some point. It's not my job to backseat.
No, but I appreciate the reminding if I miss something, which has happened several times so far with all the
I mean, with you having the talk and you're listening to somebody at this point in time, it can definitely get a little more distracting than in circumstances where if you were just playing by yourself with your Twitch chat. So obviously having the reminders that you have this to do or this to do can be important.
Yep.
So Lana's going to be making 2 checks here that are in logic because of what we have. This mirror allows us to check this entrance here, which is the desert main entrance, without getting the book. And it is a free item.
It's funny having Ice Rock Cave in the desert, but it's what it is. With the Ice Palace Big Key. Double ironic, would you call that? I don't know.
Irony strikes twice. The other cave is going to be the one that's just to the north, which is normally the desert back. But because we have the mirror, we can skip these rocks.
Alas. Okay, we're gonna go take care of our first dungeon. I'm just gonna get that out of the way right now. And in fact, we're gonna go do this, then we'll do that. We don't need it.
So Lanabean is going to be heading over to the Tower of Hera. We do not know if it is a pendant or crystal at this point, but we do know that there are accessible items on the 4th and 6th floor, 3 items in all.
And we will know the dungeon info the second I walk in because I do have the map.
Yep, so if it is a pendant, it will have a P up in the upper left. If it's a crystal, it will have, well, a C. And it turns out to be a dungeon we need to do. Now, Lana does have the hook shot, which would allow her to do the what we call the Hera pop.
You are right.
And she's going to go ahead and show that right now.
I completely just goofed on having the hookshot. I don't know why.
I thought you were just showing everyone the vanilla way of doing this.
I have never done a marathon event before, so my brain is in several different spots. But anyway, that is what's called Herapod. One of, what, a dozen different ways to do that, Rick?
Yeah. There's several setups, or even setups when you have the boots. The main thing is that you need to have the hook shot to make it work. Alright, Moldorm time.
And it's not like this dungeon is a long dungeon. Like, even if you do go up the vanilla way, you don't know how to do Herapot. The main thing you want to know Herapot for is because in a mode like this, or really any mode whatsoever, but in a mode especially like this, you don't have to rely on finding the Tower of Hera big key, which most of the time will give you nothing like it did for me, and I spell a small key. So not having to rely on that big key is good, but it's double. It can also bite you in the buns later in the... Okay, Trolldorm is being rude. But it can also bite you in the buns where you beat this dungeon super early. You feel great about it. You find the Tower of Hera big key short time later, which has something you need in it and don't want to go back to the dungeon. So...
And it also can happen in vanilla modes where the big key is down in the basement and the item that's in the big chest turns out to be rather important. One of the races that I got to call during Speed Gaming Live in Virginia actually was a case example of that, because the item that was in the big chest turned out to be the fire rod. And one runner got it, the other runner did not until it was super late, and that's the reason why that one particular runner went on to the finals.
Being thorough can lose you time or it can win your races. Just little choices like that.
And it comes down to your luck.
That's it.
It comes down to your luck. Because if you have all the best luck out there, that item is going to be absolutely nothing, and you're not going to feel bad for skipping it. But when you have the worst luck out there, it's going to be painful, big time. So I'm going to assume that now you're doing your flipper checks.
Yes, we are going into flipper checks. We're looking for basically several entrances, including Ganon's Tower, but we're looking for dungeons, we're looking for big keys still. We know where one big key is, but as far as I know, I think I'm out of connectors to take. No, I've got one more, and we're just going to ignore that one for a bit, for Rick.
That's perfectly fine. So at this stage, I think while we're doing a bunch of swimming, if the host wants to come on and talk about the charity or the event, feel free.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I am actually getting ready to step aside in favor of our next host, One Free Fits. For right now, I do want to mention we are still at just under 3,800, heartbreakingly under 3,800. And this goes to Take This. The RPG Valkyries are proud to welcome several speakers from Take This for Speedrun Ragnarok 2024. Those VODs should be up soon. Or they're in the previous days streams, so definitely go check those out. And you can use !schedule in the chat to pull up more information on those. But from me to you, thank you so much. I've been Code Indigo. I want to say thank you to Lanabean, Adirondack Rick for dealing with my noobishness, and there's the bacon sword. I'm actually kind of hungry, so I'm going to go get myself some bacon.
You go ahead and do that. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you to everyone who's being here and has contributed to this event. So we found Thieves Town, which is a dungeon that has 8 total items, as you can see with the number that's underneath the on the bottom of the HUD there. We can't beat this dungeon just yet, but these 4 are accessible right now.
And we did get a little something else from George. It's really hot. It's the fire rod, so we can beat Skullwoods. If we find GT, Gannis Tower, we can do the full right side. So options are opening up.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where you wished you had that item when you just made your path way over to the Mire area. But this also now incentivizes you to go through that front area of Skull Woods where those items are.
Yes, it does. That's another entrance available in the back. I can beat Skullwoods if I want to. It is out of logic without all 3 small keys, and I currently have 0. But it's worthwhile, honestly. Like, beating the dungeon and even going through the front right now is probably very worthwhile.
Lana mentions that she has no Skullwoods keys, but we do know where one of them is in this mode. And the importance behind that is that one key in the what we call the pinball room will always be a small key in this mode. Obviously, it doesn't attach to all modes because in non-entrance shuffle modes, it's going to have an item. It could be a key. It might not be a key. But in other modes, like the Crosskeys that we're playing here today, I guess we don't need to worry about the pyramid bomb.
Yeah, that's not necessary anymore, so that's not a bad thing. So that is the entrance we normally open up when we get our 5-6 crystals, aka Mire in this particular case, and also Desert. But that entrance is now, not needed. Well, we're gonna go ahead and just go back to. Oh, actually, you know what? I should probably. I was thinking about going back to Skull and beating that and doing the entrance into Mire because I have Quake now. But I think I'm going to go to Skull first because routing-wise, this small key that I've... Oh, gosh darn it. The small key that I've got currently stolen for Skull Woods will allow routing to be a little bit smoother in the front.
Where are you going right now? Oh, I know you're going. Okay, never mind. You're going through the connector that takes you to the northwest corner of this map.
Yes,
of the Dark World.
Indeed. Yep. I'm gonna hope.
Thank goodness.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, thank goodness for entrance trackers to let you know where your connectors go.
Yes. Off the screen a bit that you guys can't see because there's not quite enough room is an entrance tracker, which allows me to keep track of what goes where and what is where.
So yeah, now we get to play the game of what drop down do we go? Are you feeling lucky?
You just go with the drop down and you hope that it's a decent one. And in this case, it is not. This is the drop down that we want in the back.
This is the guarantee that this is now soft lock woods.
Yup.
This was the drop down you would hope would be in that last section of Skull Woods if this was not to be a soft lock woods, but alas, here we are. Now you don't want this to be the pinball room.
And it's not. Well, it's a good drop down. We'll take it.
It allows you to leave here with that one key.
Yup. Which is the one key I want to be able to beat the dungeon, and which we know is a crystal.
So this room here we call Pot Prison because all the enemies are behind those pots. So this room that Lanabean's coming into, we call the pinball room because of the bumpers. And this chest right here in this mode will always be a small key to this dungeon. It is to allow you not to get stuck if you just go down. Nice pinballing right there.
That was accidental. Controller, thank you.
It worked perfect, though.
It's fine.
It worked perfect. But it is a case where if you drop down the hole and end up in the pinball room, you weren't just completely locked out and had to save and quit there. So there was that protection.
I'm going to jump in here and introduce myself real quick. I'll take it
right
over
ahead.
for Code Indigo. I'll be one free fits, the host for the rest of this run, as well as the upcoming Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DS randomizer run. We did have a couple of incentives for the upcoming run. We've got a bid war to pick the Link sprite. Right now in the lead is Rosa with $5, so plenty of time to get in on that action, as well as going on the date with Marin. We're a quarter of the way there, but we still need some donations to make that happen. Back to you.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and don't forget to get those donations in, because we're hoping that Lanabean finds a sword, or not a sword, a shield soon. Because as a side offering here, if we get to $200, we're currently sitting at $35. Lanabean will be forced to keep that fireball shield and not have it taken away by a picket.
I hate shields, but for charity, I'll keep them.
If it's for a good cause, and this is for a good cause,
Exactly.
so get those donations in.
Exactly, please. Oh, goodness
This is
gracious.
a very extraordinary place to be. It's Ganon's Tower, but right now we only have the ability to get 2 items and scout out a third. No, 3 items and scout out a fourth.
I've got Samarian Fire Rod.
Never mind. You got more than that.
A little bit. Legally, I only have a couple of checks I could do, because the game, again, expects you to spend things badly in terms of keys, but with the amount of keys I currently have, I can go all the way to the back ice armmost.
Thankfully, you had enough magic there.
Yup, I was kind of watching that, seeing if I needed to be conservative. It's fine.
So Mothula with the tempered sword takes 4 hits to kill, but you have to go get 4 hits where the hits don't get canceled out by these spikes, and that was pretty solid. Mothula gave you a good setup.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, thank you. And like he was saying, Mothula, the game was designed to where if you knock Mothula into the spikes, he does not take damage. And the reason for that is that they basically just don't want you to be able to take out the boss easily. So these spikes do what we call butter sword damage. So level 4 sword damage. And if Mothula gets hit into spikes, he's immune to it. So if you go into that fight with the butter sword in the vanilla game, which you can technically do, then Mothula's immune to your attacks for the sword.
Did you ever do that as a kid?
With butter sword, no.
I never got to, so I never realized, hey, there we go.
Oh gosh.
So
All right, well,
I never realized as a kid until playing Randomizer that you could wind up getting yourself into trouble with Mothula if you ever were to go do the 5-6 crystals, get the pyramid bomb, and then go get the butter sword and then go back up to Mothula.
Yup. Mothula does thankfully take damage other ways. You can poke him with the sword by holding your sword out like that. You can hit him with your hammer, which does tempered sword damage, the sword I've got. So there are other ways to take Mothula out, but suddenly his swords become much less useful. Thankfully, they found that out pretty quick in the randomizer, and in a relatively early version did make it so that if you did get into the fight with butter sword, the game would nerf the damage of the Butter Sword to be tempered, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, because in the earlier versions of the randomizer, I guess I should talk about that. Swords were not progressive, just like the gloves and the bow and silver arrows and various other things. They were not progressive, so you could, at the very beginning of the game, find the Butter Sword as your first sword, and that would be a big problem if you did Mothula as your first boss. And I mean, yeah, you mentioned all the other ways you could do damage against Mothula, but tell that to somebody who's not necessarily knowing of all the ways you can do damage against Mothula. Like, I guess a casual player, if you would. It would become a very big problem if you get to Mothula with and can't do anything, and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Very true. Yeah, it takes time to realize what does what in this sort of game. Stuff you learn over time, but if you're new to the mode, so that could be an issue. And it's one of the hardships they found out pretty early on the randomizer, thankfully.
Mm-hmm. Pretty solid setup right there.
Thank you, thank you.
I see we just found the Eastern Big, which we haven't seen Eastern yet, have we?
Yeah, we have not. We don't even have a bow, so legally can't even do that. Darn it.
Mini Helma said no.
Ow. Mini Helma.
Mini Helma really saying no.
Alright, this fight will be interesting.
Yeah, so Ice Armos, you would think that you need the bow in order to kill them, but there are multiple other ways you can do damage with them. Obviously, the bow and arrows are the fastest way to do it, and here we are, just wielding our sword along to them.
And the damage table of Armos Knights is insanely weird, but good to know. So, tempered damage, what you're seeing me swing with, does fighter sword damage. So if you have the fighter sword, the basic sword, and you're swinging on these guys, it does the same damage as the sword I'm using. If you are using a master sword, you do half of the damage. It takes 24 swings of the master sword to actually take out an Armos Knight instead of 12. So if you have the master sword, it's best just to hit him with a poke. Like that. Just, nope, that's a swing, that's a poke. If you have Butter Sword, then, you know, just swing away. It does a little bit more damage than Tempered, but not by a lot.
And Crosskeys and Randomizer are the two modes where you really want to know how you can deal damage to the Armos. Crosskeys because of this situation right here, because you will have scenarios where you're going to come in here. Nice lamp location. Very nice lamp location. So how many keys to GT have you found?
3.
Which puts that in logic.
It does. My lamp is now in logic, which is very weird. So we are doing 2 quick things. Number 1, we're going to go beat another dungeon, because the game opened that up for us. 2, we're going to finally go through the connector that Rick's probably going to have to go use the restroom or AFK on for a minute. Doesn't exist.
We're gonna have a phone call.
Exactly. Doesn't exist. It's fine.
All right, so this cave that you're coming up here, or this dungeon that you're about to be, is desert. And you have not found the small key. So technically, this dungeon is not beatable.
It is not.
Because, as you mentioned with regards to Turtle Rock, the logic assumes that you're just going to use your keys in the worst way possible, and you're going to use it on that door in the main section of Desert Palace as opposed to back here. So, logically, in order to do damage here, or not damage, but in order to beat this dungeon and to beat the Lamoldas, you would need to find the Desert Small.
Yep.
But that takes too much time.
It does.
We want to get our 7 crystals.
We do. And this will be our 3rd relatively quickly. So like Rick was saying earlier in the mode, a lot of times it can take an hour or more to really start to be able to do dungeons. But the game is starting to give us slowly ways to do things.
Right, we're not quite there just yet, but we are now starting to. We're in that second stage of this mode here, where the seed is giving you things to do. You're not quite there as far as go mode is concerned. You're still trying to figure out what exactly the seed wants you to do, but it's getting there.
We are slowly but surely. We're getting what the game wants us to do. We still have dungeons to find. We still have information.
Oh, that's an interesting small key to find.
We don't know if Swamp is a pendant or crystal, but we could map check if we want, but we're not going to ruin the surprise. But what we do know right now is we are actually out of entrances to be able to check, so we are just going through things we know that we've got available to us, and seeing...
Yeah, so I think we're setting up the seed for that Spear 1 Ice Palace that we've been dreading.
Yup, yeah. Well, Sphere, it'll be like a Sphere 3 or 4 because the flippers were buried pretty deep. And the
Right,
fire right behind that, but yeah. The Sphere 1 entrance you're talking about, yeah.
But the entrance being Spear 1, yeah. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, so we're probably going in there for a glove. Glove is the highest probability. Boots, secondary behind that, probably.
The good thing is that you do have both of your small keys to that dungeon, so you could be able to do a trick that we're going to mention in just a few moments and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah. Half magic is nice.
That will help out with that dungeon too. Oh, hi there. Now we get another entrance to check.
Oh, game, come on. Oh my Lanta. Alright, well, we're going to go check that then, if this is nothing. Look,
Yeah, because that's right around the corner from where we are at this point, and we are pretty much in a end of route.
We're getting there. We've got we got a skull big chest. We've got Ice Palace we can do some of in logic. Hookshot gives us some of right side. So I think all in all, logically, we have like 5 checks available in Ice Palace. So
yeah.
that's very likely.
And we can make a 6th check thanks to a trick called Icebreaker.
Yup. Alright, so it wasn't this drop down, it was this drop down. In fact, this one probably will put me in a better position with all of our other known drop downs.
Another check.
Game. We're gonna have a talk, you and me. We're gonna check that. We're gonna have to do that immediately.
Game doesn't care.
Yeah.
Game doesn't care, Lana.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna walk our feet all the way over to check the shovel.
Why would we want to do that?
I don't know. Because it's either here or going to Ice Palace that I can't beat because I'm short a glove and a hammer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we want that.
Dumb game. Alright.
That is a fun find right there, because that does open up some more entrances. In fact, it opens up 3 new entrances to us right now. And that's a 2-item cave. Nothing there, but, I mean, getting the knowledge about this is good.
These boots are very dirty. Dug them up from the ground. Alright, so we'll probably just check this one entrance and come right back to Ice Palace, because I've just got 1 check in the Dark World I can currently do. Actually, I never scouted the GT torch today.
I don't think you did. And that is something that we can do right now, too.
Yes, yes it is. We'll fluff that, why not? We don't need it. We'll get it.
And I'll be right back.
Okay. Alright, we're about to go into Ice Palace, which is a thing we can do with the Fire Rod. You can also do it with Bombos and a sword, but we don't currently have Bombos, so Fire Rod is the way into this dungeon, and we'll see if the game wants to give us something.
So while Lana dives into Ice Palace, not a particular favorite of mine. I haven't played Key Shuffle or Crosskeys, so learning a lot just watching. I want to talk about prizes. So today's prizes for a donation, you're entered to win either the Blaster Master resin medallions. I'm looking at these; they look pretty cool. Those are provided by Prof NES. And we also have a Koromon Steam code from Margaret Ann. So any donation today will get us entered to win those prizes. I see a question in chat. What does the C mean next to the magic bar?
That means it is a crystal dungeon that we ultimately do need to complete in order to complete the game. And we need 7 of those to complete the game. And P in the corner is a pendant, meaning that we probably don't need to complete it, but the game may put something required in those pendant dungeons. So all that means right now is that it is one of the 7 dungeons that we do need to complete. Unfortunately for me, I am 2 items short from being able to beat this dungeon. I need a glove and a hammer, and I've got neither. And the C and the P only show up if you have the map to the dungeon. Otherwise, the game developers don't want to spoil everything for you. So in this mode, dungeon prizes are hidden until you find the maps to a particular dungeon. So in this case, I do have the map to Ice Palace.
No, I also noticed that there was like a what am I looking for? Like a pickup count? Is that tied to the compass of the dungeon?
It
Yes,
is.
it is.
It is. Yeah, you find a compass, the game will tell you how many checks there are in a particular dungeon.
So have we found anything inside of this ice palace yet?
A bottle and a burner.
No hammer, no glove. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna go back through desert, I think. We're gonna go get that last entrance that we've got available to us, and if the answer is not there, then GT Torch may be the answer. And at this point, it would probably be a glove or a hammer. Alright, so we're going out desert east in this case.
Did you check the big chest yet?
Desert? No, good idea. Holy moly. I did not even think about that. Oh my gosh, that skipped my brain.
That's why I bring it up. Now, if that was vanilla, that would have been quite the thing, but since it wasn't, it's no big deal. But
Well,
it's always that check that you don't make that comes back to hurt you.
not wrong. Like, you just skip one check, or you think, that's out of the way, we're going to skip it. It's that one thing that you'll need.
And the game programs it. The game programs it to have that item be the one that does you in. Every time.
Every time. So I've got some things left to do. I'm going to check this one entrance, then I'm going to go back into Palace of Darkness, which statistically is probably going to be a pendant at this point, but we'll see. And I'm just going to get a bunch of checks done in there that the game doesn't want me to do, but we're going to do anyway.
How many keys have you found to Pod so far?
Just 3.
Pod said hype.
Is it? Oh, you're right. I also have a second check in Castle Tower I could do legally now.
Oh, right, you do.
No, it's a crystal. That's most of our crystals known at this point. Basically, I have 1, 2, 3 unknown dungeons, and they're all pendants. Am I wrong, Rick?
Let me see. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, 2 of 3. Never mind.
No,
We know
no,
TR.
Yeah, we still have an unknown still. Yeah.
Well, I can do a map check when I'm out of here for Swamp.
And one thing to note is the checks that Lana is making right now, they're locked behind, what is it, 4 smalls, right?
Yep, and this one I'm doing now
This
is locked
one
at
here is behind 6.
Yep. And doing this check also does mean I do need to find one more to beat the dungeon. But it also means I have one less thing to do when I come back here. I think I'm too low. Golly, what is the best check to do after this? That's gonna be one too high, isn't it? It doesn't matter anyway.
Everyone has their own ways of setting up this hammer yump.
Oh my gosh, still wrong. I have no powder for bat. Magic bomb. Bomb doesn't mean anything anymore. Oh my gosh. There we go.
There.
Barely.
Barely got it, but good.
GT Torch is looking mighty rude. Oh my gosh.
Out of logic, magic bat.
Wow.
All right, well, it's good to know that the Skullwoods completion was behind all 6 of your pod smalls.
This goes from... Okay. So there's not a whole lot I currently have available in Logic, so the game pretty much is telling me that I need to either likely do Castle Tower Check 2 or GT Torch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm taking a look here at my version of the entrance tracker, and I'm just not seeing anything massive at this point, so...
What am I doing?
We have to find something soon.
And it's likely a hammer or glove. Those are pretty much the 2 things which do the most for me at the moment.
There's a glove, yep. Which will allow you at least to check checkerboard before you leave this area.
Yup, and I gotta route that in with 50 Rupee Cave, 20 Rupee Cave, Back of Escape we haven't been able to do.
Yep, and now you can. Which is 3 quick accessible items right there.
But that gets me one step closer to being able to beat Ice. I just gotta find a hammer suddenly in that Ice Palace. Oh, this is a
hi there.
This is our last crystal, Rick.
Well, we know all of our dungeons.
Yep.
And hammer in that second chest, anyone?
I need a bow.
However, Lana does not need that hammer technically to beat this dungeon.
I don't. I can cheat to do it. So hammer could be in this check here, but that's it. Nope.
It's not, but so Lanabean's going to be doing something that has been called the Specky Clip. It's a trick that was legalized last year and allows you to bypass the only hammer requirement of this dungeon, which is to pull that switch that you just see right there. So Lanabean's going to set up over here in the bottom right corner, lay down the bomb, head to the other corner in the bottom left, get hit by the bomb, and hook shot through. Just like that. It takes me longer to set this up than it is for Lana to actually do.
It's a very quick trick. It's pretty easy to learn once you get a strategy for it, or once you get the timing down, I should say. But it's one of those things that ends up just plain old saving time. And it does not, it breaks the dungeon in a way, breaks the hammer requirement of the dungeon, but ultimately it doesn't do enough to break the game that they would consider it a major glitch.
I mean, there was definitely a lot of debate about that in the community when it was allowed to take place, but ultimately they came up and said this is something that people can do. So as such, we are going to put it up to a vote. It got passed through, and here we are doing it legally here in this mode.
And ultimately, it did a heck of a lot more than that, but we will not get into that drama-filled detail on it. But
yeah, we don't need to break down the details of all the things that happen in regards to that. I mean, people are passionate about their glitches, and people are passionate about no glitches too. We have modes for everyone.
pretty much, yeah. Casual to more advanced, and this is nowhere close to the more advanced modes of this game.
Oh look, left side swamp is empty.
Well,
Who
it's
knew?
because I checked it. If I left it, I would have had 2 of my required big keys.
Exactly, because as we mentioned before, the game seems to know when you do that, and therefore it places the items there whether or not it actually was there to begin with.
So, Rick, why don't you explain a little bit about Go mode, since we are relatively getting there.
So Go mode is going to be when we find all the items to beat the game. We do know we need to find a bow somewhere. We do know we need the hammer because even though we can bypass the requirement here, we're going to need it for Ice Palace. We also still need to find the GT Big, don't we?
We do. We gotta find a GT Big, we gotta find a Pod Big, Meyer Big, and Meyer Location. Yeah, we still got some stuff to do.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of things that we need to do in order to be what we are considered Go mode, which is why getting a dungeon with 10 items inside is a nice find. It would be even better if we could find them with the hammers, because that would unlock a lot more over on the left side of Ganon's tower. That's a big key we didn't want to see.
We didn't want to see that, but that does tell us a little bit about the game, in that the big chest of Turtle Rock and the boss cannot have the hammer. Well, that tells us nothing.
I mean, it tells us that Skull Boss wasn't going to have the hammer.
True, true.
And that's the thing that you were mentioning about knowing where you are in your logic. Nice use of the dash pokes in order to do a lot of damage on these puffs. It's always satisfying when you can get a 0 cycle Argus.
And unfortunately, I did not.
I mean, it's tough to do, especially when you have somebody chirping in your ear.
Oh, it's fine. Fire Rod, I'm not good with Fire Rod. Ice Rod I'm so much better with. Okay. Rick, please.
Now, you have to go back in there because it could very well be a big key that you need to beat this game. Now, of course, we know it can't have the hammer, but it maybe could have our bow.
Dr. Goose, how you doing?
Hey, big thank you to everyone who's helping support take this as well. Let's get above that 3,800 if we could, please.
Absolutely. So you got to see this glitch one more time, the Specky clip. Specs93 came up with it.
All right, bottom corner, move into the bomb, hook shot there.
Yup, pretty much an easy setup once you learn it, but it just takes a few tries to be like, oh, okay, just don't back into the bomb too early.
Or make sure you go to the complete full bottom left corner. That was a mistake I was making at my original when I was having difficulties with the glitch. And then when somebody told me you need to go to the complete corner, that's like, oh, okay. And I was able to get it every single time. And that is an item K, but we don't need that.
Yup.
So if I'm looking at my notes correctly, we still have 3 item caves out there. Bonk Rocks, Waterfall Ferry, and Bombable Hut.
Yup, that is accurate.
And there's your mire.
Well, we're going in. I don't want to do this. Yeah, that's fine.
If I jump in with a quick donation here?
Oh, please.
Oh yeah, we got above 3,800. Congratulations. Let's go.
Yes, we got $20 from One Free Fitz. It says, "Hey, One Free Fitz, it's your ancestor Fritz from 600 AD, Bruce Village. Mid-ether sales are booming, so here's $20 towards a great cause." And they put that towards the upcoming bid wars. So it looks like Marin has taken the lead for the Link's Awakening DS Rando Sprite bid war. And we've gotten closer to seeing the Marin's date. So if you want to see Marin do some self-care and go on a date with themselves, we need some more love on that Marin's date incentive.
And a big
Also,
thing.
welcome Giant Bomb with the raid here. We are here raising money for Take This, a mental health nonprofit whose main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. And with that, I will throw it back to our commentators.
Mental health is definitely important, so take good care of yourselves, everyone. Hey, it's the big key to this dungeon. That's always a fun find.
And how many small keys to Mire do I currently have, Rick?
I think that number says 0. So that is 3 keys out of logic.
Yup, the game wants us to have 3 Mire keys. That was weird. The game wants us to have 3 Mire keys before getting that check. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna beat this dungeon. It's just not gonna be very, logical.
Yeah, but you're going to be able to full clear it, and at that point in time, logic is just a suggestion.
Yup. So we need very little for gun mode at this point. Bow, a hammer, big key to
big.
pod. That's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
A GT big.
Oh, GT big, yes.
4 of them.
Details.
We don't need maps anymore, game.
I still do expect to find something else here. A hammer or a bow. Bow wouldn't do a whole lot. Hammer likely, but it's hard to say. And not guaranteed either way with the item case we got left.
Hammer at least would make Vitreous easier. What did we find that was in Lava Chest earlier?
We found a big key, I think the desert, if I remember right.
Right, Desert Big, okay.
Uh-oh. Gotta think
got
about that
this.
for a second. Okay, this is the last chest in logic as this one right here. Okay, so no hammer. Unless it's 3 Mire key lock, oops. We have to go the other way.
You gotta go a long way.
Yep, with no Mire small keys. Like, 1 Mire small key in this mode is more useful than nothing because it allows you to at least route this pretty efficiently.
It's incredible that you haven't found a Mire Small.
Exactly. Or, what was it? Let's say Mire small, we didn't find these small keys. Heck, to another dungeon we were in before, but it's fine. So we're about to get another dungeon done. This is Red Crystal, it's a 5-6. It doesn't mean too much in terms of 5-6 Crystal because we did come out of the connector to Pyramid Ferry. And strictly speaking, this is the last entrance that we care to find.
But this would put us at 5 crystals, which is a decent amount considering where we were a while ago. Because I was mentioning quite a bit ago that sitting at 0 crystals it happens in this mode, it doesn't make you feel bad because you'll be finding crystals and picking them up quicker as you move along through the seed.
Yep. But it's one of those modes, as you also said, you can have 0 crystals going at 1 hour and 20 and suddenly get enough stuff to do 5 crystals within 20 minutes. And it's one of those modes that can give you a lot very quickly, or just hold everything off until you find that one piece in the hidden nook of the seed. Oh, bother.
Well, that's unavoidable.
Well,
You're stuck with that shield for the rest of the game now.
it's what it is. Alright, so we're going to do this. We're going to check the back of Escape for 3 items. But we need a pod big, a bow, and a hammer for pod, so that is the biggest dungeon that we don't have access to beating at this point. We need a GT big key to beat Ganon's Tower. We need a hammer to do the left side GT. We need a hammer to do Swamp or Ice Palace. So hammer is the kind of the crux of the seed right now. It's kind of holding me back a bit. Why? There we go.
There we go. All right, so there's the Desert Small that we were talking about. That does open up 2 new items. I know you were saying what in regards to that Ice Rod, which is increasingly becoming a potential thing, because
It is.
one thing we do have is we do have the Turtle Rock Big, and we do have 3 keys, so a certain laser bridge with 4 items, which we haven't seen the back of yet, is in logic.
Yes, it is, which will probably be a pretty quick thing to go to, but I do have a lot of other things to do right now with that hammer find. Hey, there's one of those. Okay, so we go here. And we go take care of crystal number 6 in Ice Palace. It's only 2 checks, but it is required, so may as well get it the heck out of the way. But before we do that, we just do this really quick.
Oh, good. I can sort of get rid of that on my tracker.
Ugh.
Never underestimate the power of the book.
No. There was that race last night. Climb GT to get your book, to get your hook shot.
That was absolutely horrible. But part of what these modes can do to you.
Yes, indeed. But it's also part of the fun. That it can make you do goofy things like that sometimes. Alright, so my go mode is down to a bow and a GT big key and a pod big key, I think, at this point. So my go, pretty much after this point, my next entrance I do is GT. I go back there, I do left side. Game loves to put stuff over there. Oh my gosh. Come on, game. Of course you nailed it. Puns are always welcome. Especially if it's puns for charity. I don't need to do that. So Ganon's Tower is just right over in the mire area, which we need to connect to from Paradox, so that's not going to be too bad. Okay, so this will be Cold Stare. I'm going to do a little glitch on him for getting extra shots. Darn it. That's okay. So, if you shoot your Fire Rod shot, and then with the right timing, you shoot a Sword Beam, ew, then that counts as 2 Fire Rod shots. So your Fire Rod shot gets a second hit in, which is great because that can allow you to use a lot less magic on Cold Stare. Alright, while we're in the area, it is still very out of logic, but we're still just going to check this. Just don't tell certain people that I'm checking this and it'll be fine. There are some people out there that don't like the magic bat check, and that's okay. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go back to Ganon's Tower again. This time we're going to be able to do left side. And what we're looking for to beat the game is just a Ganon's Tower big key and a Palace of Darkness big key. So that puts us go -2. And
An interesting place to be. Now you just hope that there's no extra items that come in the way to kind of increase the pathway between those goes.
Exactly. So there's several things we do not want to find. We don't want to find the ability to pull a pedestal, and right now we are dangerously close to doing so. We just need to find Eastern and get it to use on Big Key, and that pretty much is a pedestal pull, and that could very well have a Big Key that we need.
So this spot you're coming to has a lot of items on this left side that were blocked by the hammer. 9 or, yeah, 10 to be exact.
Yep, 10 very quick, dense tracks. My next stop after this will be Turtle Rock. There's quite a bit we could do there now that we got a hammer, or that we have a Big Key there. Well, there's a lot of life in this room, including the Sanctuary Heart. We don't need to go any further than Rando Room coming up here, so we have 5 more checks in GT before we go back to Turtle Rock. And we also don't care about any more connectors. Connectors are a non-thing anymore. We found every single possible connector we could hope to find. So we don't need to go out Laser Bridge, and I can pretty much go straight to 2 Laser Bridge and then beat Trinex and get kicked out the front and also loot 2 chests out in the front of Turtle Rock. Oh no, wait, I've already done the 2 front ones, I think. Anyway.
Did you did the Fire Rod ones already?
No, I don't think I did. I think I missed on those because I didn't have a Fire Rod at the time.
Because you did not have the Fire Rod when you found TR front.
Yep. So a pod small in GT, which is not great. That only unlocks one more check for me in pod.
But you did need a pod small because you used all your keys when you were in pod the first time around.
Oh yes, I got that a little bit earlier. 5 gives me enough to full clear the dungeon if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going? My brain was telling me Turtle Rock was over here, but it is in fact in Eastern area. Or not Eastern, in Kakariko.
TR right is located here. TR front's located behind that heavy lift rock on the mountain.
Yep.
So as you mentioned, I think we've already kind of deduced where TR Laser Bridge is going to be, dumping you out, and it's a heavy whiff of vanilla.
Very likely. If not, yeah, that's probably accurate. I know it's useless.
I think that's the only force out that I still have unmarked here.
That sounds accurate then. So Turtle Rock is a little bit extra special in that Trinex is worth a green pendant. If you talk with Sahasrara in the vanilla game, he gives you a pair of boots. In this, it's randomized, so could be something I need.
Or it could be nothing.
Very likely nothing.
Oh.
That's not a small key we want.
I love how we had both the same expression for that. That is, you just pointed out, is definitely one of those ones we do not want to see. All right, so that Meyer tells us that we logically did need to come here first before we went and beat Meyer, but I mean, logic's just a suggestion.
That it is, especially in the Crosskeys. Oh, well, I missed. So I'm going to do a bit of a quick kill on Trinex here. It's a little bit difficult to learn, but once you get it, it's not too bad. But it's basically charging to the back and hitting his heads from the back, meaning you get a 1 cycle on him.
It's the type of fight that practice ROMs are made for.
Yup. So 1 cycle on Trinex is where he does not bring out his head to attack you even one time. He just kind of goes straight into his shell, he comes out, you hit him 3 more times, done. I just kind of made that fight look incredibly easy, but that is one of the harder boss fights in the entire game for anybody that has not played this game.
Hey!
We need that.
Nice bow!
There's one more bow out there somewhere. We don't know where it is. Alright, we need 2 big keys. I guess we need GT big key, pod big key now. Now we're to go
GT
-2.
big, pod big, go -2 now that we found the bow.
So the bow really doesn't, strictly speaking, unlock anything for me since I already did the right side of pod, but it's required regardless, and it could mean that I need to find Eastern Palace currently. Nope, no
Answering
servers.
that question in chat, the bows are progressive, so we were going to find the bow before we find silvers. They're not separate like they are in various other modes. Like you may have seen like a harder item pool type of mode where they've been separated. Or a case of, I think, SMZ3 when you add in the Super Metroid aspect. Hey, that's all 6 pod smalls.
Yes, it is.
You don't sound happy about that.
It means that I'm feeling almost like I should be going and checking the 1 check left in Pod FM.
So this is now we've got to the part where all our checks are kind of like loose items.
Yup. I've got now 1 check in Tower of Fear Basement. I've got 1 check left in Palace of Darkness. And
you've got the book check still.
Yeah, there's 2 book checks to do on those tablets.
Did you check this Hammer House, by the way?
Nope. It's one of the things I was doing when I was on my way there, just in case Eastern shows up or something.
Right. And I still have item caves out there. That's not one of them.
It is not. So I'm going to run up north and do bumper bottom here. And then probably run over and do spike cave really quick. And then...
Because I know I've been a little distracted at parts of this. You still have 3 item caves, I think, still on the docket.
Yeah, I got some item caves left. Spike cave is outstanding still. I know where it is, but...
Right, you've already seen that one, but we have yet to see Waterfall Ferry or Bonk Rocks or Bombable Hut.
Yeah, that's 4.
Is what my notes are.
4 items.
And there's Eastern.
6 items. We clear. Pendant Eastern, we might say, and our second of 3 pendants. Gosh darn. Okay, we're down to go -1. We need to do GT big. And we also don't leave this, because technically Pod only has 3 more checks, and there are still 4 left in the Eastern Palace. We don't need a map to GT, we need the big key to GT game. Come on.
Are we going to reach the 20 heart?
We may, Rick. We're getting dangerously close.
Yes, we are.
Oh, that'll probably happen, Dragon, if not the GT climb. Oh, thank you, One Free Fizz. Appreciate it. And that is what's called hook speed, where you basically use hook shot in your boots on the same frame and then touch like stairs or something like that. You also get the same effect if you use your sword and spin on the correct frame. You can activate spin speed. Limited use per se, but definite use.
Nice bombs.
Yeah, right?
Hey. Yep, we needed that.
Chat, this is what we call go mode. We are done. We do not need to loot a single thing for the rest of the game.
Yep, so you just gotta go back to Palace of Darkness, finish that up, and then just climb GT.
Pretty much. Should be done shortly, chat. Continue getting those donations in. Fantastic cause. Great people hosting it. It's hosting this great event, and they appreciate all the love.
Yeah, based on what I'm looking at here, we've got about another maybe 11 minutes left until this GG happens.
Yeah, well, that's 11-ish minutes to get in on that Link Sprite bid war, or the next run, Link Legend of Zelda. There's a little mini Zelda block, if you will. Link's Awakening DX Randomizer. Still got Marin leading with $10, Rosa with 5, and Ages Girl has not been bid on, so still plenty of time and opportunity to pick that starting sprite. And then the Marin's Date incentive, we're still looking for some more money to meet that one. We do have until the end of the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX run. I don't really remember, so I do want to see it, so I would love if we could get some generosity to make that happen.
Please, chat, do it. Make it happen.
I know we can. So let's do it.
And I'm going to be kind of doing a unique way of taking out the boss Helmasaur King. One other person I'm pretty sure on this planet that plays this game does it the same way as me.
So do you want to set that up?
It's basically just hitting the hammer on the helmet one time, and then using bombs for the rest of everything except hitting the boss. So basically, you'll see. It's most people hit the hammer just a bunch and call it good. So one hammer hit. Oh, hammer! A bomb must have missed at some point. Too early of a hit, I guess.
Yeah, maybe one hit at the same time as another one was exploding, so they coupled.
Which happens. Hey, look, another big key to a dungeon we don't want. Yeah, this Crystal number 7 officially game. Right now, normally you'd be going straight to Ganon, but Ganon is vanilla, so we gotta go back to Ganon's tower to climb and unlock Ganon, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, but at least at this point in time, it's just the run up the Eel Gauntlet, and maybe you check in case silvers are up there, but at this point in time, you've got good enough equipment to survive.
Exactly. And at this point, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with Ganon. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, so I am not going to use silvers on Ganon, even if I find them. I'm not even going to spin on Ganon. I'm just going to swing and have some fun.
And I do share the same story that Chat was talking about in regards to how, as a kid, I always thought you were just supposed to hit the 4 bombs onto the mast to break it free.
Yep, everybody does the whole hammer mask thing when you're a kid. I think I managed to find out bombs did the trick, and I just used that. But it's one of those things that as a kid you just find out that it's one way or the other, and you're like, you just don't think of using the other one.
I didn't realize this worked.
What's that?
No, I was just saying as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And then as you get older and you see someone else do it, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize this worked.
In fact, we'll have a little bit of fun in this next room, too. In fact, both these rooms. We're going to do mimic clips for both these rooms, because that's kind of fun. Why not?
Yeah, obviously with the bow, this isn't required, but Lanabean at this point in time is just going to show off. Especially since we are
I am
running at a decent clip here.
Exactly. Running ahead of schedule here, and I want to make sure they have plenty of time to get everything set up for the next run. So we are goofing a little bit, but not a terrible amount. And for some reason, well, got one.
Yeah, that was so close. There we go.
Right. I can only do that in about 4 to 5 seconds, but...
So 2.25 hours, I'll wait. One of the nicest things about doing the minute clip in that previous room is that these BMOs are not going to bother you.
Yeah, the game has what's called a sprite limit. So if there are too many sprites on the game cannot do certain things, like shoot lasers, or enemies can't shoot some of the projectiles.
There they go right there in the wall. So we mentioned this 2.25 hours ago, but for the people that were just tuning in during the course of this run, do you want to reintroduce what MSU package you're using?
Yes, this is one made in the last couple of years by Obscure Lifeform, and it's ALTTP, or it's ALTT Pokemon. And it's a mix of A Link to the Past, some Pokemon music, and some even other stuff that you're going to kind of hear a mix of on the climb. There's some, I think Castlevania's mixed in here. It's really fun.
Chat's remarking about the bloody tears from Castlevania.
It's primarily A Link to the Past and Pokemon, but there is some other fun stuff mixed in.
Right, because I did remember hearing one of the SMW athletic themes mixed in here during one of the dungeons as well.
Oh, you're going to hear more than that. This song is mixed with even more.
I mean, you're here for a while, so we are going to hear various things.
I'm not even going to do Troll Derm. I'm just going to attempt to see if my fingers feel like hovering today.
I mean, you didn't get a chance to do it with Hookshot Cave. You might as well.
Oh, god darn. Fingers didn't press to the right. Oh, a goof there. That's okay. Still plenty enough for the cycle. Alright, our silver siding on the climb. Let's find out.
One of the most useless maps of the game right there.
And we're probably not going to find out what's at Moldrum 2 unless my fingers don't feel like actually hovering today. We'll see what happens. Oh, not that attempt. Finger slipped right off. I'll give it a couple more goes, and if I don't, I'll just take out Moldrum, find out what's in the Moldrum 2 chest, call it good. But my hands are kind of cold today. It's getting to be towards cold season here in Washington. Wow, okay, I'll give it one more go.
Strike 2.
Yup. I'm going to give it 3 strikes, and I'm done. But right now my fingers are kind of cold. I can't feel the controller very well. Oh, alright, we're done. We did it a little bit, but unfortunately...
You did get a few frames there, so I'll give you... So definitely good effort there.
So I'm not one of those big-time hover people that can just do it on a whim. I don't practice it that much. In fact, I don't practice it at all. I know what I know. I've got a method or two for what I do, and I'm pretty much... that's it. I can pretty much manage what I need to do when I need to do it. And sometimes I can just do them all that I need to in one try, and sometimes the game's like, no, not today. Alright, let's find out what's in Moldrum 2 today. Get sprinkled. Not here. Well, the thing about the randomizer is Ganon will spoil to us where these silvers are hiding. Okay, something was going on down there with the bumper, and the enemy was kind of trapped or something.
So, I guess this is where chat can show some interaction and tell us where they think that those silvers are going to be before Ganon spoils it to us in about 2.5 minutes. Actually, more like about maybe a minute 30 at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty quick.
And I guess as we're getting ready for Ganon to spawn, if the host wants to announce things that are coming up here, now is the perfect time to do so.
Thank you very much. Then I shall do so. Up next, we have Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX Randomizer with Warlink 05 as our runner. Immediately following that, we have some more Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. We saw 100%. Now we're going to see randomized percent, and that's being run by the RPG Chick. Following that, we have Gartic Phone. Not a game I'm familiar with, but the category is shenanigans percent, so that seems good.
That seems like fun.
To cap us off for this day of the marathon, we have some Lufia 2, Ancient Cave, any percent. So I'm excited for like the whole rest of the day. Honestly, there's been a lot of good runs.
Heck yeah.
And more to come.
Yeah, make sure you get those donations in. They're all going to a good cause. Thank you, everyone, for being here. All right, one more hit to Ganon, and he'll let us know where those silvers are. In Thieves Town, which would, we obviously never made it to the back, so that's 4 checks there where it could be. And these sword slashes are, what, nearly frame perfect.
1 or 2 frames, yeah.
But you need to get 12 hits to Ganon in order to kill him without the silvers.
Yes, normally people would be spinning on Ganon right now, because spinning is pretty much a guaranteed hit.
Yeah, because it takes that 1 to 2 frames and gives you multiple opportunities to hit that target. But Lanabean is special. And time will be on the fade to black. So with the lifting up of the sword, the door will open up, and that is a successful run for Lanabean. Get your GGs. Good job. Time.
GG's. Thank you so much for joining me on this today, Rick. Comment lol.
Been a pleasure to be here, and I know there's a lot of great things still to come here, part of this marathon. So I guess keep an eye out. I mean, obviously Crosskeys tournament still wrapping up over on Zelda Speedruns. You've got main tournament stuff going on over on Speed Gaming and other various channels that will be broadcasting that stuff, and races all the time going on in various modes. So thank you for having me here, Lanabean. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll let you go ahead and close it.
Oh, thank you so much, Rick, and thank you for joining me. Rick does a lot of streaming too, a lot of shenanigans with his chat, Mario Kart, a bunch of Zelda 3, so go give him a follow if you can. I am Lanabean, twitch.tv/Lanabean, who I primarily stream this mode, Crosskeys, and mostly race it. And I'm also in the tournament as is Rick, so that's fun. Otherwise, a big thank you to the RPG Valkyries for hosting this event and accepting my submission a couple months ago. You guys are all amazing and doing such a fantastic job with this event. May you guys reach your goal, and thank you so much for having me on. I hope to do this again in the future. I'm going to resubmit another run next year. We'll see what happens, but otherwise, hope you all have a great rest of your event here. Y'all are amazing. And I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much to both of you. That was an incredible run. I play the rando casually for fun, mostly in multi-worlds with no timer. Have been getting a little better just over time, but the execution, it's just interesting. Like, I'm competent, but there's definitely a mastery to this game, and it's good to watch a incredibly talented runner do their thing, and I'm definitely a little bit more curious about this Crosskeys mode. I might give it a shot on my next multi-world. But real quick, the shout out to RPG Valkyrie is probably talk about who they are. They're an inclusive group of female and femme speed runners who all love and run RPGs. They do have a Discord. It's open to all people and genders, and it's just a really cozy place. Speedrunner